Hey Nick, how's it going there? How's things outside of Atlanta? How's the weather?
Could be better, but it's not as bad as when we were in New Jersey recently. It's a comfortable 55 and raining here.
It was freezing. We were up there visiting our mom and your mom and my mom, your grandma. And yes, it was freezing. And here in Florida, it is about 70 some degrees outside. So it's good to be home. Remember that number 55. Got more to say on that later. So welcome to the first edition. We'll call it the pilot of Rum and Records, a show about, surprisingly, what?
Rum and Records. What?
Who'd have
Who would have
figured?
thought?
Who'd have thought it? So the idea came to us after you and I got together a few times in Atlanta, and we both have, at the same time, similar but also very different tastes. Mine go back obviously more years than you do, although you like a lot of classic rock too. But I think you have some great taste in different genres, and so you would introduce music to me. I would play you some of my music, and we'd sit and enjoy a cocktail while we did that. And so that's what this show is.
Something we always found out is how the past has always influenced the music of today, and how you can hear those influences bounce back and forth. How it's very interesting. You'll play something and we'll hear an influence on a song that I think about when I hear an older song.
100%, and maybe a loop or something, something that came out of an older record. So that's what started this, and we're hoping to do this on a somewhat regular basis. So let's start with the rum part of it, since that's the first word in it. And tonight we're going to be showcasing some of our favorite rums, and hopefully people will want to go out and sample some. May already have some have tried them and have some comments to give us. But tonight I've got one of my favorites, Zacapa 23. The full name is Rum Zacapa Centenario Sistema number 23 Solera. And what that is, it's Centenario 23, Zacapa 23. It's a Guatemalan rum aged in white oak casks. And the name comes from the Solera system, which is basically different barrels. They use rums from 6 to 23 years old. And they mix them together, carefully crafted together, and come up with this rum. And it is one of the softest, most enjoyable sipping rums. And here's what I like to do with it. I'm going to open a little bit, put it in my special rum glass. And then, much like you do with scotches or whiskey, I'm going to add a couple drops of water, which I like to do just so I have a glass here off to my side with some filtered water. I'm going to put just a few drops in it. And the idea is that supposedly opens up the flavor of the rum. Swirl it around a little bit. Oh man, this is some good nose, or in layman's terms, it smells good. And it's just exceptionally smooth. You know how some rums, even good ones, will give you a little bite in the throat. This does not. Way too good to be mixing with Coke or to waste on anything like that. And not super expensive. I want to say it's about $40 a bottle, which is, again, not what you want to spend for something you're going to dump into some Coke. But for a nice sipping rum, you can't beat, to me, Zacapa 23. It is one of my favorites. So I'm going to enjoy this. And what do you have tonight, Nick?
Okay. Well, tonight I have something a bit different, but it still tastes just as good. This is a Bourbon Court 15 years. What I have. A buddy of mine got this as a wedding gift for us. It is about $30, so it's something that you give as a good gift, so you're not, your friends don't look at you weird, it's like, why are you giving me Captain Morgan? Do you not like me?
Not that there's anything wrong with Captain Morgan, but
it has its places.
Exactly.
It is 86 proof. It is a traditional Caribbean rum. It also comes from the oldest distillery in Haiti, Société de Rum, Bourbon Court. Let's see. So this rum is aged in a Limousin oak and made from sugarcane juice in the style of rum agricole, unlike most Caribbean rums which use the cheaper byproduct, molasses. So that's the big difference between this one and maybe some other Caribbean rum.
Right.
And so because it is just as good to sip, but I don't have as much of a refined palate yet. I have it mixed here with some Coke.
Awesome. Very nice.
Of course, in the upcoming season, the Atlanta United Cup I've got.
All right. Cheers to Atlanta United, and cheers to you and your Bourbon Court.
Mhm.
15-year rum. Awesome. Yeah, that price point around 30 is not too bad. You can still don't feel bad mixing it with Coke, but then, generally it should be a good sipping rum as well.
Exactly. And if you want to, if you're just having like a small get together, a few friends, I've used this to make hot toddies recently when it was cold and had some people over. So it's a bit. It's a step above what you might get for a large party.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we are, let me, now we'll get to the records part of this. And here we go. I see you now on the screen. I lost you for a second. So the records part of this, you and I were recently up in Atlanta together, where you live outside of Atlanta, and we went record shopping, one of our favorite record stores, which if you're in the Atlanta area, especially in Decatur, well worth a stop to see our friend Warren at Decatur CD and Vinyl. Not only does he have an amazing selection of vinyl and CDs and collectibles, but he knows about them, right? And if you ask him about an artist, he'll tell you about their latest releases, about reissues, all that sort of thing. He can order things for you. So we love Decatur CD and Vinyl. And you and I went records shopping there and left with armloads of vinyl. And one of the things that I left with,
if we won the lottery, we would have walked out with the store.
With the store, exactly. So we got what we could and carried it out. And one of the things I was very happy to find out from Warren was that one of my favorite artists, Tom Waits, had recently, maybe in the last few years, gotten together with his wife and remastered and reissued some of his very first albums. Now, I love Tom Waits. He's an amazing singer-songwriter. His songs have been covered by people like the Eagles and Rod Stewart and Bruce Springsteen. And his early stuff is very different from his more recent. If you jumped in at the tail end and in the last 10 years or so, you'd hear some very avant-garde jazz. Some people think it's fingernails on a blackboard. I find it amazing. But his early stuff is very singer-songwriter in the same gravelly tone that he's got. He's always sounded like he's had a few whiskeys and a couple of cigarettes, plays the piano. And again, he's an amazing songwriter. So you mentioned 55 is the weather. That's one of the songs I want to play. So I've got, and here's some of the reissues that I picked up at Decatur CD, all Tom Waits. We've got Closing Time. We've got Nighthawks at the Diner. We've got Heart Attack and Vine. I picked up Small Change. So 5 reissues, all remastered and reissued. And the very first song on this particular album right here, this is Closing Time, is a song called Old 55, which many people may not even know was originally released and recorded by Tom Waits, written and recorded because the Eagles released it shortly after this album came out. I'm just going to play a little bit of Tom Waits' Old 55, and this is my contribution to tonight's Rum and Records. All right, so I'm going to stop it there. You said you were not able to hear it. I know it's coming through this, so we'll have to see if it's in the recording later. We'll put it back in somehow. But in any case, that's a little bit of from Tom Waits' remastered, reissued Closing Time song called Old 55, which, like I said, the Eagles released shortly after this, after it came out on Tom's album of this Closing Time album. Which is from 1973, I believe.
Interesting. Okay. And so I know Tom Waits through you, and I really appreciate that kind of deep and raspy voice that you were talking about. Like you just, had whiskey and cigarettes. I think it brings a different kind of tone to his songs that, some people who maybe trained a bit more and have that, I guess you could say golden pipes. He's the opposite. He has rusty pipes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and you can picture him sitting in a smoky bar somewhere playing these songs, and because a lot of what he sings about, that's the type of the nightlife and the people who live on the streets and go to bars, and
it brings a different tone to it that you might not hear from like other singers, like say the Beatles. If they tried to sing about what he's singing about, it sounds completely different. But if he tries to sing something that, say, like Behind You Blondie is singing, it's not going to sound right either.
100%. Yeah, the both of them, Beatles and Tom Waits, can sing, or can sing about love, for instance. But Tom Waits will be singing about being by himself at a bar, lonely, drinking his blues away, and seeing a woman across the bar or something like that, and wishing they could get together, maybe. Whereas, of course, the Beatles sang all their songs, and they're a little brighter, a little chippier, that kind of thing. So just a different vibe altogether. So that's Tom Waits. What do you got, Nick?
So today, with a bit of the idea of discovery, kind of like how somebody might discover this podcast or just discover new music. I have something that we discovered together when we were in New Orleans a while back, and that is Luke Winslow King.
I remember that
album, Everlasting Arms. This came out in 2014. We were out there just walking the streets of New Orleans, as one does on vacation there. Just had some great food, and doors are open at this place. A garage door, I believe, was open.
Mm-hmm.
And we just saw a local artist playing, or not really local, but heard someone playing, and we thought it sounded interesting. So why not go in, check it out, see what it's all about. If it's not, what we like or anything, we'll just go to the next place. It's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Just check it out. But it turned out that we really liked it, and turns out this album had just came out, and he was selling the vinyl for it there. Of course, I look like the weird out of towner carrying around a vinyl at the next few bars that we went to, but that's cool. It survived. So a little bit about him. He was born in Cadillac, Michigan, which is probably a town like Cadillac. That definitely is a blues sounding town.
Mm-hmm.
So he, how it says here, is a music traditionalist, mixture of people's music and improvisational jazz. And so, which includes, regular jazz, Delta blues, ragtime, and pre-war American folk. So he's an American guitarist. He does multiple other instruments, I think he's credited with here. But I think one of the most interesting things that we found out is that here on his page, it says he's a lyricist based out of Catalunya, Spain.
Oh, my goodness.
Which
I would have never known that by seeing him, right?
Yeah, exactly. Something that we just had no idea. But so I'm going to play the title track on the album, Everlasting Arms, right quick. I just need to make sure this is on. Set my mic here.
While I was listening to you, also I was scrolling through my phone to find the notes that we that about the name of the area we were in New Orleans, and the name of the bar. I couldn't remember it, but your mom remembered it now, but I can't find it now. I know we were at the Spotted Cat. We had been there. That's where, CNN used to at least do some of their New Year's Eve coverage. And so we were at the Spotted Cat, and we were leaving there and walked by, like you said, this bar, and heard this music coming out and said, oh, let's check that out. So here you go.
Yeah. And here it is. See if my records player is going to be nice to me.
Oh, no. Here you go. I like that. It's like, it's just a long, long way back home. I like it. A little bluesy, a little Has a
little
swing to it.
folky,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
bit of bluegrass to it. So it definitely gave me a new appreciation for bluegrass itself.
Hmm.
Um, but also just swing and everything like that. And again, just this random happen chance, the guy's just playing. So I figured, hey,
Yeah, it's on
I
Frenchman
like
Street.
it, and I find myself going to this album about maybe once every other month now.
That's awesome. Yeah, Frenchman Street. That's the area. Of course, everybody knows Bourbon Street, but if you get off of Bourbon Street and away from the touristy spots, there's still some touristy spots on there on Frenchman Street. But there's some just very cool little bars like this one. You know, we just walk by and were interested enough to go in, sit down, and you became a fan and bought the record.
Yeah, and there it is. And I know that happens a lot locally as well for you, and also for me in East Atlanta Village. You know, there's multiple bars down there that have just small shows going on from time to time. That's always just fun to poke in, even if it's 10-15 bucks. You know, what's the biggest loss?
100%. Yep, and that's a great way to discover music. Just like we hope that this show will be. Hopefully, people will not only check out the rums that we are trying. Doesn't mean everybody has to like them, but we're just going to give you some new options to try. Because I had never heard of Barbancourt until you, and then I ended up buying some up there when we were up in New Jersey and enjoying it. And musically too. Hopefully, somebody will listening out there or watching out there will go, hey, that sounds interesting. Let me give that a shot and dive into it. Tom Waits, I know in particular, has a long history of music, so there's a lot to dig in. Like I said, in Tom's case, his early stuff is very different from his more recent stuff, but all definitely worth exploring. All right, so for me tonight, it was Ron Zacapa Centenario 23. I'm enjoying some now, and yours was, Nick?
Mine was Barbancourt 15.
Awesome, from Haiti. And musically, mine was Tom Waits, all his reissues and remastered reissues, but in particular, Closing Time. And I played you the song Old 55, which, as I mentioned, was recorded by the Eagles. And your selection tonight was?
Luke Winslow King from his album Everlasting Arms.
Awesome, which is,
I believe he just came out with an album as well in 2022.
So he's still recording and releasing stuff out there.
Yep. That album was called If These Walls Could Talk.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us for the very first Rum and Records, and we appreciate it. We're still going to try to find a home for this, a website, etc. For right now, we'll probably try to park this on a YouTube page, and we'll as well on Facebook. So you'll be able to find us Rum and Records, and hopefully we'll have a lot more of these to do, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks for taking the time, Nick. Appreciate it. I know you got a busy schedule. Always enjoy doing this with you, and sorry we can't be together in person to do it, but cheers.
One of these days. You'll be here in April, right?
That's right. We'll see you in April. So thanks, Nick.
All right.